Hello and welcome back. I've created this series of short videos to show you the ICTs that you could be using when you think about the task that you've been given. In this episode, we look at how you can use the computer in the classroom. Let's look at what these ICTs are. There is the overhead projector, videos, computers, data projectors, multimedia presentations, interactive or smart whiteboards, simulations, games, and the smartphone. Let's have a look at the way that computers can be used in the classroom and what the advantages and benefits are. Now, firstly, students can gain word processing skills or any other skill depending which program you use, because they can learn to type and that will be useful in college or the workplace. It fosters collaboration when students have to work together on a project the teacher sets using the computer. Often leaders will emerge, those who really enjoy computers and can help others, which is useful to teachers. The computer time promotes higher order thinking skills and is a natural form of discovery through trial and error. And the computer time increases responsibility, independence, and a sense of accomplishment amongst your students. And it can either reinforce instruction or it can be an assistive tool in the instruction through things like podcasts, videos, or multimedia. Now, the computer can also be used for recording data and allowing students to use that recorded data to construct charts or to use functions such as the average one to calculate averages. So here's just an example of where students are capturing data about human height for grade 12 lesson on inheritance, and they've recorded the height of the students in the class, and from there they are using the chart function and they have developed a bar graph of the height of students in the class. The computer can also be used to help search for information. So let's say you're doing a lesson on population dynamics and you want the students to find out different ways for estimating population size. They can do a search. From there, they could then look at whatever comes up. For example, here is a lesson on estimating population size. And they can then go through what comes up and they can actually learn from it. You can get them to take down information, possibly through a worksheet with set questions and so on. If they find that this page wasn't useful, obviously they can go back and look at another page, for example. So the computer can be quite useful as a tool for looking up information for students. As I said, they can go back and they can look at other sites that come up. So here now they're looking at estimating population size through sampling. And of course, as a teacher, you can move around to ensure that they are keeping on task. So that could be very useful. Computers can be very useful as students find information and look for information, and you can actually guide them rather than them doing this at home. You can make your lessons therefore a lot more student-centered as they find their own information. And they can continue looking up as they find new things. For example, they might then come across the mark recapture method, and clicking on that, they can then learn about other ways of estimating population size. So the first site looked at counting, the other one looked at sampling, this looks at mark recapture. And of course, you can plan this beforehand, knowing generally the sites that would come up, and you could ask students specific questions. But the thing is, the students now have actually control over their own learning. You can also use the computer for students to prepare presentations after a prac. They can be used for simulations, biology games, online worksheets or activities, and online quizzes. So the computer is a very useful tool in the classroom, but there are disadvantages. And there are ways to prevent these. For example, it does create distractions in the classroom where students use computers for their own personal reasons, such as going onto social media. You would have to make sure that you control this behavior by setting rules on when and what to use, and there must be consequences for breaking the rules. Then computers are also very expensive. So not every school will be able to afford a computer for each student in the classroom, and most schools will have students will be sharing computers. Thank you for joining me for this short video on how to use computers in the classroom. One of the key issues when using computers is the accessibility. Will all students have access to a computer in the classroom? Or are there only a few in the classroom? Maybe the school has a computer lab, but accessibility will be the major issue when using computers in the classroom. Until next time, everybody, this was the Opinionated Science Educator.